These past few weeks, I've settled into something of a morning routine with Max. After having spent a week sick, I'm still in more of a recovery and survival mode, so we spend our days slowly. While this has led to me being behind in projects, it's been nice to prioritize just being an attentive mother and letting other things slide. Every morning, Max and I get up around 7. He chose the time, not me. He has breakfast and then I do. This is some very rare downtime in which Max is able to play contentedly by himself so I can get my bullet journal prepped for the day and do some mental health journaling. This usually is when I spend time in prayer, but I've noticed this isn't working with Max being more active now, so I've been trying to switch prayer time to the evening. After breakfast, I have coffee or tea, depending on my mood. I often switch between the two to start the day, but I'm trying to delay until after breakfast and incorporate more water in my mornings. But there's just something about drinking a warm beverage in the early morning light, especially when the mornings are getting chilly. While I enjoy my drink, we usually go out on the back deck, depending on the weather. And after this, if we're both feeling up to it, I'll start chores or try to get some weaving done. I'm currently weaving a fall table runner, which I am really hoping to get done by Thanksgiving. I'm a bit behind on editing, but I still wanted to show the process I took in getting on the loom. I started by mathing everything out and then getting the warp ready, which I'll show in this video. The process is rather long, and it honestly took me a few weeks trying to work around other priorities, so I have a lot of video footage to edit, so I'm going to do a separate video on what I did to actually get the warp on the loom. In the meantime, enjoy an excitable artist trying really hard to do math.
Okay, so based on the measurements I made on my table, I know I want my table runner to be 78 inches long and 14 inches wide. I want that to be before washing it, so after washing it, it'll probably come down to 12 to 13 inches. And then this will probably be like 74 or so. Actually, now that I think about it, I might actually just bump this up to 80 inches. A, easy math. B, I know it's going to shrink, so it'll still probably be around 76 inches or so. That'll be easier. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, we'll say this is about what it's going to look like. Obviously, this isn't super proportionate, but that's okay. It'll give me a visual for doing my loom math. I know that I want it to be mostly white, but I want there to be some stripes on it to give it a little bit of a more fall color. So I'm going to do 2 thicker stripes on the edge, and then I'm going to do 2 thinner orange stripes a little bit more on the outside of that. And these colors aren't direct representation, so I think it'll be a little bit of a more fall color. This is very spring because they're such bright watercolors. And then I'm going to do the same concept on the ends, so I'm going to do a thick stripe of green on each end, thin stripe of orange. Wow, that's so much brighter. Okay, a thin stripe of orange. Okay, so if this is 14 inches, probably 2 inches for the green. So do 2 inches and then do 1.5 inches. I do 1.5 inches from the 4 and then do a space of 0.5 inch and then do 1 inch for the orange. So it would go 1 inch for the white, inch for the orange, 0.5 inch here, 1.5 inches. So that's 4 on each side, which means that my white in the middle, so that's 8, 14 minus 8, this would be 6 inches in the middle. Yeah, okay, I like that. And then this is 78 inches long. No, sorry, 80 inches long. And then I want a little bit of frill, tassel, shall we say, and so these are going to be 2 inches each. So that brings my total up to 82. Total length, plus we need loom waist. So we're gonna say, I'm not super familiar with this loom yet, so I'm gonna round up. I'm gonna say I want probably an extra 4 here to make tying on nice and easy. And then on this side, I'll probably want an extra 8 inches to make that a good total of 10. So that's 8 plus 4 is 12. So we've got a total of 82 for the actual warp, and then an extra 12 inches, and that's gonna run me for 94 inches total length. Width, I'm gonna do obviously 14 inches total, and then I want 24 ends per inch. We're gonna do 14 times 24. So the total ends that I'll have is 336, and each of them need to be 94 inches. Okay, so to make sure that I have enough yarn, I'm gonna do 336 times 94, and that's 31,584. And we're gonna divide that by 12. That'll get me feet. I want it in yards. So that's 2,632 divided by 3. That'll get me yards. So I need a total of 877 yards, some of it in white, most of it in white, and then some of it will be green and orange. I have plenty of that, so I'm not worried. I don't need to exactly math it out because I have more than enough, so that will work just fine. And since I'm doing this in inches, it will be pretty easy to ration out my color. But what I'm gonna have to do is, it'll be 14 white, then 14 orange, and then it'll be 7 white and 21 green. But what I'm gonna do, because I want these to be in inch bundles so that I know what's going on, it'll be 7 white, 7 green bundled together, and then it'll be 14 more green, and then it'll be 6 bundles of 14 white, and then we'll just reverse this. Well, we'll reverse it. Okay. Yeah, so that seems to be what I need to do, which means I need to measure out a preliminary thread yarn, waist yarn of 94 inches, because that's going to be my length, and I will start warping that up. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, I need to pick what actual pattern I'm going to use. So let me do that first. This is actually the first book I've ever used as a weaver. It's for 4 shaft looms. I have an 8 shaft loom, but I'm only going to use the first 4 shafts, so it'll be fine. I know that I want a twill, and I know that I want it in 24 ends per inch in 8-2 cotton with 3 different colors, but I'm not sure that that's going to make a huge impact. It will only really be 2 colors at a time. So, okay, so here are my twills. I like the idea of doing diagonals. That's nice. Checkered's a little bit too on the nose. I like this one a lot. Okay, I'm not getting into double cloth. So far this is still my favorite. I wanted it to be a simple pattern. I didn't want anything too crazy or too complicated, I should say. So one thing that I hadn't counted out yet, but now that I'm thinking about it, I can't do this one on my current loom because this would require 12 different tie-ups, and I only have 10 treadles. So that is just off the table. So we won't do that. I might just go with something more like this, or 1 3 12. I think I'm gonna go with a 2 2 12. So I'll do these and probably prioritize something kind of like this, and just switch it up as I weave, as I see fit. So, okay, we have a plan.
So, as Max and I do some of our outside time this morning, I noticed that I made a lot of errors as I was editing this video. And since I'm actually in the weaving process now, I'm seeing more and more errors come through. So I just wanted to kind of touch base in
the learning process that was this project, which is what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be, I haven't woven in 5 years. Let's try to like recall all of the details of setting up a loom and getting on loom and etc. etc. So part of me was like, you made so many errors, you probably just shouldn't even post this video, this is embarrassing. But the other part of me is like, that's the learning process. So if you're here to learn how to weave again with me, then this is the right video for you. But anyway, so some of the errors that I noticed myself making, the loom math, I made a couple of mistakes there. The first one being just like a general math error. I didn't calculate in the loom waist properly, but even more so, I actually pretty much failed to include enough loom waist, period. My loom probably should have had more like a couple feet of loom waist, like arguably at least 24 inches of tie-on, and then yeah, just the general waist for the shafts. So that was a mistake that is biting me in the butt right now, because I don't think my overall project will be as long as I wanted it to be. It'll still turn out fine, it'll still fit my table, I'm not stressed about it, but I definitely needed to include more loom waist. I also totally forgot to calculate for general shrinkage, as well as just like, yeah, just general shrinkage. I don't know what I was gonna say there. So I should have done 10 to 15% extra to account for the way that the thread doesn't go like straight. It goes up and down once it's going around other pieces of yarn, weaving, whatever. As well as just in general cotton shrinks. So I should have included an extra 10 to 15%, which I didn't even think about, didn't even remember until I was on loom. And I've been working, I want to say I've done like 30, 40 inches so far. And I was looking and I was like, I don't have that much left. I should have like another 40 to 60 inches of weaving left. And I think I've got like 20 inches left. So yes, I did not account for shrinkage and loom waist. So that was a mistake. I also made that mistake that I showed with the number of ends per inch, but I corrected that, thank goodness, in time. And then I did make a mistake while warping, or I missed like a double warp thread, so I was a little bit low on orange, but I was able to fix that fairly easily. That didn't turn out to be a problem. Gosh, I'm trying to remember what other mistakes I made. Those are really the big ones. So I think I'm gonna make some more table runners so that I have one for each season. Eventually, I'm not gonna do that right now. But I'm gonna learn from the mistakes of this one and try to do a more cohesive and well-planned next table runner, just to make sure that I know what I'm doing before I try it again. But yeah, I just wanted to touch base that these are the errors that I made, and I'm fully aware that I made them. And I'm really glad that I decided to film and edit this, because I don't think I would have noticed all of these mistakes if I hadn't had to go back and watch myself do it and say, wow, you did that really weird self. There's something very revealing about watching yourself on camera. So keep that in mind while we finish out the video and enjoy. Yeah. I think that's about what I got.
Next step is going to be to measure out 94 inches, which is the length of my warp, including loom waist, of waist yarn. And I'm going to set a track so that I know how I'm going to warp out my big one. So just taking some really old acrylic yarn that I haven't used in a hot minute, and I'm going to measure it out. We've got 94 inches right here. Okay, so this is, in theory, the total length of my warp. I'm actually going to go out to my dining room table and lay it out and make sure that this is the length that I want it to be. So I don't know why. I thought I liked the 80 inches when I first measured it, but I don't like this. I don't think that it's long enough. So I am going to remeasure and I'm just gonna add a couple inches. I think, I say a couple inches, I feel like I'm actually gonna go ahead and add 10. So I'm just gonna do 104 instead of 94. Like I said, I bought plenty of extra yarn, so I'm not worried about running out. They only sold in certain sizes, so I'm not worried about running out. I can go ahead and last minute add a couple inches and it won't hurt me in any way. And that's 104. And let's go check this one. Okay, that is much more to my liking, especially considering the fact that I know that it's gonna shrink a little bit when I wash it. So the next step is to plan out a track on the warping mill. Start by tying it up here, just to keep it in place. Sorry about the banging. I have absolutely no idea what my neighbors are doing, but they seem to be building something. Okay, so, and then I need this to cross, so we're just gonna do that. And then we're gonna go down. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes to get the exact right track. Tie it off here. Yeah, that'll work. So like I said, I bought plenty of yarn. I've got a green and an orange. This is all from the Woolery. It's the Maurice Brassard Cotton 8-2. And I have their cream. This is the cream. This is khaki. And pale orange. I've got my plan here, so I know that I need to start with an inch of white, which is going to be, I did my math wrong. But that's okay, I know what I did wrong. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you always do your math twice. So I'm gonna fix up that math real quick before I make any more mistakes. I said that we needed 14 of white, 14 of orange, but that's because I was looking at the width of being 14 inches, but I actually have 24 ends per inch. So I need 24 white, 24 orange. See, so that would be 12 white, 12 green, together 24 green, and then 6 times 24 white, and then reverse. Under and around. And this is 2, and oh gosh. Since each time around creates 2 warp threads, I made a knot. I'm gonna do, to get to 24 warp threads per inch, I'm gonna do 12 cycles of this. My gosh, I really made a mess. Sometimes I think that if I were on Survivor, I would crush the knot challenges because I trained for this. All of college was just undoing knots. But then I think I don't operate well without food. So the chances of me actually surviving, slim to none.